For what feels like an eternity in tech, a single name has been the standard answer to every question about magnetic keyboards: Wooting. It's been the benchmark, the slightly smug control experiment in the corner of the lab. But what if a strange new box appeared on your doorstep? A box that claims not only to match the benchmark, but to be built so solidly it might just be the last keyboard you ever need to buy. The market is, to use a technical term, utterly swamped. Yet the MCHOSE Ace68 Air has the sheer audacity to suggest it can end the entire conversation. A frankly preposterous claim. I was, as is my default state, deeply skeptical. We've seen a sad little parade of Wooting killers, all of which have ended up in the big bargain bin in the sky. So what makes this one different? MCHOSE isn't just throwing features at a wall to see what sticks. No, they're muttering strange things about a new switch algorithm and a build they call Ultra Solid. In this investigation, we are going to void the warranty entirely by disassembling this device, compare it to the Overlord, and see if the claim holds water. Is this really the end of the line for all other magnetic keyboards? Let's plug it in and get started, shall we? Alright, time to open the box. The initial presentation is our first clue, and MCHOSE seems to understand that you don't ship a premium artifact in a flimsy cardboard catastrophe. The container is substantial. It has the reassuring presence of something that knows it's important. Inside, we have the Ace68 Air itself, and my first thought is mass. Good heavens, this thing has heft. It weighs more than my entire sense of existential ennui. We also get a lovely braided USB-C cable, a keycap and switch puller, and 2 spare switches. A thoughtful, if slightly ominous, inclusion. Lifting the keyboard out confirms my initial assessment. This is not some plastic toy destined to skate across your desk during a particularly frantic gaming session. It feels like a single, solid block of something you'd use to decommission a satellite. The model I have is Aurora Black, which looks rather moody and serious, helped by matte black finished keycaps that give it a clean profile. The light bar is the whole back of the keyboard, a subtle touch that avoids screaming, "I live in a basement." I've tried to bend it with my bare hands. I may have dislocated a thumb, but the keyboard remains stoically unbothered. It is, without a doubt, one of the most structurally sound keyboards I've met in this price bracket. It weighs around 777 grams, which for a board this small is considerable and speaks volumes about what's inside. First impressions are, therefore, worryingly positive. It feels less like a peripheral and more like a precision instrument. But looks aren't everything. The real truth, as always, is on the inside. And now, the fun part, voiding the warranty. This is where the MCHOSE Ace68 Air starts to get really mouthy about its claim to the throne. Its main selling point is its build, so I felt it was my solemn duty to take it to bits. What I found inside is what separates it from the great unwashed masses of its competitors. The keyboard's backbone is a thick aluminum alloy mounting plate. This is a slab of metal so serious it should be running for office, and it provides a ridiculously rigid foundation. It's this literal backbone that completely eliminates the flex and pinging noises you get from cheaper boards that sound like a tiny skeleton trapped in a biscuit tin. However, a big lump of metal on its own can be a noisy, harsh business. This is where MCHOSE has clearly done their homework, possibly while the other children were out playing. The Ace68 Air uses a multi-layer sound dampening system, a sort of technical lasagna, if you will. On taking it apart, I counted a 5-layer internal structure. The recipe for quiet is as follows: a silicone sandwich pad, a pour-on switch pad, a PET film, a layer of bottom padding, and a silicone gasket. Each layer has a job. This whole sandwich is gasket mounted. For the uninitiated, that means the important bits aren't just screwed into the case like some sort of barbarian contraption. No, they float on tiny rubber pillows. It's all very civilized. The result is the isolation of typing vibrations from the main body, which gives you a softer feel and a deeper sound. It's a design choice that's all about how it actually feels and sounds to use. The combination of the heavy metal plate with this 5-layer lasagna and the gasket mount is what gives it that ultra-solid feeling. Its weight isn't for show. It's dense and acoustically engineered. This level of internal quality is, frankly, startling for the price and is the first proper bit of evidence against the old guard. Now to the very heart of the matter, these switches. The Ace68 Air is fitted with Mount Tai switches. These use magnets and sensors to figure out how far down you've pressed a key. It's voodoo, basically. It's what allows for clever tricks like adjustable actuation and rapid trigger. What supposedly makes these Mount Tai switches special is their precision. MCHOSE claims their magnetization process ensures a more uniform magnetic flux. Magnetic flux. It's not just a great name for a prog rock band, it's the secret sauce for a smooth and consistent key press. But the hardware is only half the battle. MCHOSE has paired these switches with their own magnetic switch algorithm 2.0. Think of the algorithm as the tiny, frantic man inside the keyboard who translates your panicked key mashing into digital genius. According to MCHOSE, this software can detect movements as small as 0.001 millimeter. In real terms, that should mean a faster, more accurate registration of every input, which is a big deal on cheaper magnetic boards that can sometimes have a bit of a wobble, digitally speaking. On top of all that, we have high-quality, double-shot PBT keycaps. PBT, or polybutylene terephthalate, and I am not saying that again, is what you might call the good plastic. It's the kind that laughs in the face of your greasy, crisp fingers, as it's resistant to oils and won't develop that glossy, sebaceous sheen that is the telltale sign of a keyboard that has seen too much. The legends are double shot, meaning they're a separate piece of plastic, so they physically cannot fade away. It's another premium detail that suggests this thing is built to last longer than my enthusiasm for most new technology. All right, we've taken the thing apart and poked its insides. The build is objectively excellent, and the tech sounds clever. Now, before we get to the sound test and the all-important gaming grudge match, a quick request. If you're finding this deep dive useful and you want to see more, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. It lets me know you appreciate this descent into madness and helps the channel out immensely. Now, let's hear what this thing sounds like. Now for the part you've all been waiting for. I'm going to provide a clean audio sample so you can hear what the metal plate, the 5-layer lasagna of silence, and the Mount Tai switches actually sound like. Remember, sound is subjective, but what we're listening for is the sound of money and the absence of any rattles or pings. This is the MCHOSE Ace68 Air. As you can hear, the sound is remarkably clean. It's less a high-pitched clack and more a muted, refined thock. A sound that's deep and reassuring, like a kindly old librarian gently closing a very heavy book. There's very little hollowness. The stabilizers are mostly well-behaved from the factory, though the spacebar is a bit louder, the perennial attention seeker of the keyboard world. That 5-layer foam and gasket structure is clearly doing its job, absorbing nasty frequencies and leaving a very satisfying, premium sound that people usually have to perform strange rituals and modifications to achieve. It's quiet enough for civilized company, but satisfying enough to make you feel like every keystroke matters. This is the final exam. Can the MCHOSE Ace68 Air actually depose the reigning monarch, the Wooting 60HE? On paper, it's all there. 8K polling rate, 256K scan rate, adjustable actuation from a featherlight 0.1mm, and of course, rapid trigger. In practice, the experience is, well, it's phenomenal. Let's start with rapid trigger, or as I call it, the "oh dear, I've strafed incorrectly, undo, undo, undo" feature. It lets a key reset the moment you lift your finger, which is a game changer in titles like Valorant and CS2. The implementation here feels flawless. My character, who normally moves with all the grace of a refrigerator falling down a flight of stairs, was suddenly nimble. A gazelle. A very heavily armed gazelle. The adjustable actuation is just as impressive, and it's all handled through web-based software, which means I don't have to install another piece of monstrous software that wants to scan my hard drive for optimization purposes. You can make your movement keys fire on a 0.1mm hair trigger, and you can make your ultimate ability key require a firm, deliberate press to stop you from accidentally wasting it. This is the superpower of magnetic keyboards. But how does it feel compared to a Wooting? In raw performance, the difference has become so small it's barely worth mentioning. A Wooting might be a sub-millisecond faster in a lab, but that's a difference only perceptible to people who have replaced their blood with energy drinks. Where the Ace68 Air pulls ahead, for me, is the overall experience. The sheer stability of the build and the superior sound mean the performance feels more grounded. There's no distracting rattle or vibration. It feels like a more mature, serious piece of kit. It even has a Berserk Mode 2.0, which is so sensitive that a stern look is enough to type out a full sonnet. I turned it on and it immediately tried to order 20 pizzas. Use with caution. The point is, the performance is undeniably top tier. So, is the MCHOSE Ace68 Air the end of all other magnetic keyboards? The classic, if slightly infuriating answer is, it depends. Let's be clear, the Wooting keyboards are still brilliant with what is probably the most polished software out there. However, the Ace68 Air changes the question. It delivers functionally identical gaming performance, but wraps it in a body that is objectively superior in build, materials, and sound. That solid aluminum plate, the 5-layer dampening lasagna, the gasket mount, and the premium keycaps all come together to create an experience that feels vastly more premium. For years, choosing a magnetic keyboard meant a compromise, top-tier gaming performance, or a premium custom-built feel. The MCHOSE Ace68 Air simply walks in and nullifies that compromise. It offers the best of both worlds at a price that is often more competitive. If you're new to this whole magnetic keyboard business, I think the Ace68 Air is the logical choice. It gives you a top-tier experience straight out of the box. If you already own a Wooting, it presents a compelling reason to switch, but only if you lie awake at night troubled by the hollow echo of your current spacebar. MCHOSE hasn't just made a competitor, they've made a keyboard that forces the entire market to raise its standards for what a high-performance gaming keyboard should feel and sound like. This isn't just another contender, it's a new control standard. But what do you think? Is build quality as important as raw performance? Or does the Wooting ecosystem still reign supreme? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.